There's something so relaxing about just digital drawing. There's no mess, there's no keeping track of your colors or your pencils or whatever you're using. Welcome back to another episode of my digital art journey. Now, the other day I decided I wanted to add a character to this drawing. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I actually drew and recorded this, so I wanted to show you guys the process of how I drew a person, and you will see that I use a reference, and I will leave the link to the reference I used for the person down in the description below, so I do not take their reference without their credit. So without further ado, let's get into this and I'll show you my process. So I got this reference here, like I said, that again will be in the description, and then I was trying to draw it in freehand, but again, I'm using a mouse. I don't have one of those drawing pads, so this was already a hard process, so I gave up on that because I'm already not good at drawing people. Adding a mouse into the equation was not at all helping. So I knew I wanted the character facing the moon with its back towards the people looking at the photo, so I don't even know why I wasted time drawing the ears or the neck. And that's why you'll see me just kind of outline the outer shapes, is because I'm not going to use most of the detail in it. I'm actually going to add my own. The reference was just a starting point, not the end goal. So I did leave that in the description for a reason. I don't like using people's videos or sounds or art without giving them credit to the best of my ability to be able to find the credit, because I wouldn't want people to use my art. Also, here you see me trying to find the color that matches my hair, because this is going to be me kind of sitting on the beach, kind of animating in animated style. So I start blocking that in. See what I mean about I didn't even use the face or the ears? I don't know why I bothered putting the ears in. I know why I put the face in, so I could frame in the hair, but I don't know why I put the ears. So you see me putting on the tank top, and I was trying to get it kind of looking like I was facing the moon again, but I could not figure out how to do it. So I kept trying, and it just wasn't looking right. So I'm like, let me start over and leave part of the arms visible, so it looks like the arms are sitting in front of the body. So that's what I did. You see me putting in the skin, and I wasn't rushing this. The original recording came out to be an hour and a half, and when I edited out all the stuff I didn't end up using and just wasted time with, and then sped up the finished edit, it came out to like 7 minutes. So that's what you see me talking about now. So now, after putting in the arm color, I'm going back in with a tank top, and that looks much more like I'm sitting facing the moon instead of just, I don't know what I was doing with the tank top before, but it did not look right. And I'm going in with like the pants color and getting that in. I don't even end up using the feet, because I'm, again, sitting forward, the feet don't look right. And it took me a couple of tries to get happy with this line work, especially the line where I'm trying to figure out how the butt hits the sand. I did that so many different times trying to get it right. And honestly, it looks like I'm having an easier time than I am, because this is sped up to 500 speed. It took me a minute to try and figure that out. I think I like painting digitally because working with layers is so easy, and if you completely botch a layer, you can just remove the layer and it's like it never happened, which you see me putting them in groups right now like I did with the background. And then I took off the line work because I was fine with it, and then I'm going through with a cleaner line work. I think I do a couple of different line works, just going in and smoothing it out because I'm finally happy with it. There's something so relaxing about just digital drawing. There's no mess, there's no keeping track of your colors or your pencils or whatever you're using. There's no worrying about cleaning up brushes or spilling water on your artwork because there's no need for like a water bowl to clean out your brushes. And once again, it's so much easier to work on a layer in a digital drawing than it is on a painting, because if you screw up the layer royally on the digital drawing, you can just erase it. But if you screw up a layer on a real painting, you either trash the painting to no return, or it's fixable, but it takes another 3 hours of work. And here you see me putting in the hair detailing. I didn't want to go too realistic on this because it wouldn't have fit with the animated style of the background. And then I'm lowering the opacity like I did with the shading on the background. And here I'm going in with some darker shading on the pants, which this ends up being a bit too light, so I darken it up, and that looks better to me. And I'm just moving that underneath everything so it fits. And once I got the body shape down, this kind of came pretty easy. This is me adding shadows to the skin. And going back in, adding another layer. Adding more shadow to the hair. Going back over the outline for the hair. I just ended up coloring this whole thing in except for one spot. I was so absorbed in this process that one of my friends was texting me because we were supposed to hang out and game. And he was texting me and being like, hey, wanna hang out? And I didn't even notice him texting me, which you can see popping in the bottom corner. So when I finally saw the text after I was done with this whole process, like 2 hours later, I was like, I apologize. I don't know why I started blocking in the shading in a like dark gray, and I hated the look of that, so I went back to the lowered opacity black, and that looked so much more like a natural shadow, and I started doing that. I don't know why when I'm figuring out how I want to shape things, I just scribble it in and hope for the best. I did this shadow kind of like I did the squigglies in the water, just it didn't need color variation because it's a shadow, not ripples in the water. Then I went and did the same thing in the middle, and that was me switching the layers around, and I'm adding in a darker color once again, zooming it in. And here's me for the third time going over the line work in a darker color because I wasn't happy with the lighter color. And I just wanted to clean everything up a bit. I go over this hair so many times because I was like, what if I take it all the way down? And I was like, no, that looks stupid. So I did it again. And I was like, no, it looks stupid again. I don't know why I'm doing that. So once again, I delete it and start over. And then I was kind of like frustrated watching myself back. I'm like, I had it the right way the first time. I should have just left it there. I honestly don't know why I erased that line. I think it went too far under the shoulder. Darkening up the shadows again. And at this point, I'm getting happy with it, but it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the drawing, which you see me trying to figure out how it worked. That's why it flashed on and off. So I'm going through putting some filters on it to see how I can get it to look more like the background and like it's part of the background instead of a separate thing. So I found the shadows and the highlights and the hue colorization, and that ended up looking real. So I decided I didn't like the size of it, so I took the background off, saved it as a PNG, which is a transparent file, brought the version of me back in, and just was playing around the sizing to see where I wanted to position it and where I wanted to place everything. And you see me like comparing it to the original drawing and moving it up and down. I think part of the reason why I decided to size down the drawing is because A, I didn't want it as big as I drew it to begin with. I just made it big enough for me to be able to make it easier to draw. So, and on top of it being only that size for me to be able to draw it, it blocked my beautiful little water shine that I worked so hard on. So I was like, I'm gonna make it smaller. And thus you see the finished drawing. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope to see you next time.